Hello everyone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video before starting the summary. When he goes downstairs to have breakfast, he sees that his sister is making all the food with tomatoes and brags about how he got a ticket to a special training course in the mountains. Kano is a popular boy who wins the hearts of all the girls. At this point he hasn't realized that Kano is a girl in disguise. Kano is also the butler of the school's student council president Suzu. Later in class, Saka's friend Yamato notices that he is constantly checking up on Kano and usually avoids contact with him. Yamato, Saka has never seen the footballer talk to any of the girls in class, plus he has the nickname Nick and is attracted to girls. Saka wants to exonerate himself, but suddenly his stomach hurts so much that he immediately sits on the toilet, and by chance he sees Kano on the toilet and sees his triangle panties. The two of them freeze, but surprisingly Saka does not doubt Kano's true identity. Instead he thinks this guy must be a pervert, and suddenly Kano comes out of the toilet calling his full name behind his back and hits him in the stomach, scaring Saka by saying he will erase his memory. Saka does not want to be beaten, so he quickly runs away and hides in a lab room, but Kano does not kidnap him. They fight until he drops a vial to save Kano. Saka pushes him to the ground, and what happens is that Saka touches his chest and finally realizes it's a girl. After taking his strongest punch, Kano holds a fire bottle and slowly approaches the boy. Saka tries to tell him what to do so he doesn't hurt him. When Saka wakes up, she's already been taken to the school's infirmary, but soon realizes that one arm and two legs are tied to the bed. She sees someone lying next to Saka, pulls down the blanket, and sees Suzu asleep in her bed. Saka's behavior has woken Suzu. Suzu tells him that she is the one who tied his hands and legs. Suzu bribes the nurse to let them stay a little longer. Kano has to disguise himself as a boy, and Suzu tells him a story about their family history, and says that Kano can only go to this school if no one notices that he is a girl, but today Saka has found out. Suzu then reveals the side bed where Kano is also bored. Suzu knows that Saka suffers from gynecophobia, which causes his nose to bleed whenever a girl touches him, and asks him if he wants to cure his fear of women. Saka tells Kano that they can help him if he wants, but he has to keep it a secret to change the fact that Kano is a girl. Recently, Saka and Kano often go to school together, attracting everyone's attention. And no one knows that Kano is watching Saka to make sure she doesn't tell anyone about his secret. Yamato tells Saka that S4 is on the move. S4 is the most powerful group in the school and is also a fan club for Kano. Some of Kano's fans are jealous of Saka and want to teach him a lesson, but when they are about to attack him, they are intercepted by another group whose aim is to protect Saka. Suzu gives Saku a card that allows him to order Kano to do whatever he wants, after which Saka and Kano play a game. Kano changes and appears as a girl in front of Saka. The two begin to explore the arcade. They stop in front of a clock rain machine, but Kano doesn't know how to play the game. Kano sits on a park bench in the evening. They talk to each other. Kano is curious about Saka's illness. Kano tells him that his mother and sister are interested in martial arts. He has been their boxing bag since he was little, and this has been going on for 10 years. He continues like this. This is the reason why he is afraid of girls. Sake really hopes that he can get rid of this illness so that he can go out with a girl like other men. Suzu calls Kano and continues with the second step. First she approaches him and blows lightly on his ear, then she takes the other necessary steps. As he takes off his bow tie, Koha appears out of nowhere and kicks Sokka away. It turns out that Kira is the one who heard the rumor that his sister is dating a boy and decides to follow them. Only he mistakes Kano for a pervert. He then attacks Kano, but Kano is no match for him. That night Saka comes home and can't find her sister anywhere. The next morning Koha doesn't want to look at her sister even once. Today is the school's health check day and all the kids gather in the same room to change. Kano usually does this in the bathroom to hide from the others. The first step of her chick obsession is to take Kano's body measurements. Fearing that her identity will be discovered, Saka volunteers to help her take the measurements. Of course, she can't stop her nose from bleeding next to hers, but this year a nurse is taking her measurements. Saka is afraid that her illness will worsen Kano's heartbeat. Saka also knocks herself out so that Kano can take advantage of the chaos and escapes at lunch. Kano asks Saka if he can join him. They start eating and talking about their lives. That night, Saka goes home and Kira asks him if he has a date with Kano, adding that she might be in love with Kano. The next day, early in the morning, Kano comes to Saka's house, just as he comes out of the bathroom. Kira locks herself in the bedroom and won't come out no matter what Saka tells her, but while Saka and Suzu are talking, Suzu notices Kira spying behind the door. Kira runs up to Saka and Suzu after learning that her brother has been exposed and asks them if Kano said anything about her outfit at the time. Suzu, she makes up a story that Kano likes Saka, but Saka is dating her, so Kira has shown that she is not too worried. Suzu suggests a double date for the four of them this weekend. On the date, Saka realizes that Kano has brought an electric gun to protect Suzu a long time ago. Suzu and Kano went to this park and were kidnapped. Shortly afterwards, the case is solved and the kidnappers are arrested. Saka's nose keeps bleeding because the girls are so close to her. She sees a girl drowning nearby. Saka tells Kano to call the lifeguards while saving the girl. She faints from too much blood loss. Saka opens her eyes to see Kano landing next to her. She is relieved to see him finally waking up. A small boy approaches Kano and gives him a mobile phone. The person from the other side tells Kano that his master has been kidnapped. Not only that, but he gives the location of Kano's house, but also the location of Koha, who is in their hands, as well as Suzu. The man shows a knife and Kano stops to get scared. Kano has been afraid of knives since that childhood accident, seeing that it could be a difficult situation. Saka then arrives at the destination on his own to meet the wolf. Masked man's sake may not be that strong, but he is used to taking blows. But he is used to taking punches, thanks to the training his mother and sister gave him, and he tries to return the favor. So the man hits Saka repeatedly, and for the last move, the man pulls out his knife, aiming to finish Saka off anyway. The man introduces himself as one of those who kidnapped Kano and Suzu when they were young. Kano tries to get rid of his fear of knives and fights the bad man. They manage to get into the room where Suzu and Kare are being held, at which point the man catches up with him, applauds and reveals himself, but it turns out that he is Kano's father, and it is all to help Kano get over his fear of knives. When she wakes up, she sees Kano's father in her room. The man says he doesn't like Saka very much and tells her not to mess with his daughter. Suzu intervenes and asks him to give her and Saka some time together. Kano is the closest person to her father. Finally, Suzu remembers to thank Saka for what happened today. The next morning, Saka is making her favorite ramen when Kano knocks on her door and asks to stay to serve her. Suzu calls Saka and asks if he has accepted Kano's request. Kano tells Saka that he was kicked out of Suzu's mansion yesterday and his wallet was stolen. Now that it has been stolen, she has nowhere to go, and Saka tells Kano to come in. Saka is alone at home as her mother is abroad and Kara is at the campsite. This week is holiday week, and after breakfast she goes to sleep. Seeing Saka's unhealthy lifestyle, Kano thinks he has to set her straight. At the same time, Suzu comes to Saka's house and says she will not stay here for free, plus she will be a maid like Kano. Kato takes Suzu's suitcases out and tells her to leave. They only need Kano. This causes a fight between Kano and Suzu to find out who is a better maid for Saka. In the first round, Suzu wins thanks to her massage skills. In the second round, Suzu faints while feeding Saka. They take her temperature, and when she wakes up, they see that she has a cold. Kano gives her a pot of congee and opens the lid to reveal a dish of chilies in front of Saka, which she feeds to her with a spoon, and all she wants now is to get away from this hot meal. Apparently her way is a bit extreme. Saka desperately thinks it will be over before her fever subsides, at which point Suzu tells Football that she came here to bring Kano back. Then they meet Kano's father, who is very angry with Saka because his beloved daughter Adam is about to attack Saka when Kano shows up just in time to stop him and tells Saka to make peace with her father, but Kano is worried about Saka. Sakura reminds him of the time his mother died. Sakura assures him that he will not die easily. Sakura fires Kano and gives him back to his old master Suzu, and the next day Kano and Saka pass out from the energy discharge. They chat on the roof of the school. Kano says that his friends are special to him. His father has a fever, and although he is a little reluctant, he has to visit him before he leaves, but he doesn't forget to thank Sako for helping him. Saka is afraid of Suzu all the time. He feels something strange about the situation with Saka and Kono. It's the first time she's heard Kano thank someone other than himself. Suzu gives her her first kiss the next morning on her way to school. She is hit by a football girl on her motorbike, causing her to roll on the road. Luckily, her body was trained enough so she only has minor scratches. The girl fainted but very quickly regained consciousness. Too bad her glasses got stuck under her skirt. She wants to get them back, but the girl thinks she is a pervert, so she attacks her. Luckily, she is adept at this dodging game and eventually gets her glasses back. The girl introduces herself as Yuzumi herself. Saka wakes up and finds herself in the school infirmary. Kano sitting next to her asks her if she is okay. Kano finds a football line and asks her if she is okay. Saka wakes up and finds herself in the school infirmary. Kano sits next to her and asks if she's okay. Kano finds a football line on the way to school and brings her here. Kano adds that Kano has been making strange noises in his sleep and realizes that Kano has been trying to hide from Suzu since the end of Golden Week. Saka thinks about what happened that day but can't tell Kano. Kano suddenly blushes and says he wants to go to the school festival with Saka. Suzu is in the student council. The president will be busy that day, and Kano has no other friends to go to. She is very happy that Saka accepts her question. Then Saka tells her that her first kiss was stolen and she wants a second chance. Kano misunderstands her words and thinks she wants him to kiss her. When the two are about to kiss, Suzu pulls the curtain aside and interrupts them. She says they should be more careful as they are still at school and Kano is under a male identity. Saka wants to go home but Suzu forces her to stay. Saka wants to go home but Suzu forces her to stay. Then reports that the main event of the school festival this year is the play and everyone is looking forward to Kano dressing up as a girl. Sak has gotten into a lot of trouble because of one person. He meets you while walking angrily in the school lobby. He wants Sami Saka to be his partner for the school festival. Usami is a member of S4, and Kono. Saka explains that the Warm Protection Council got along well at first, but since Saka has been around Kono, the two groups have clashed. During the Battle of the Scales at the school festival, Saka even shows Sokka a photo of herself with Kono and tells him that the photo can only be erased if he agrees to be her partner at the festival. Saka, who has no other choice, is forced to admit that he is with Sami, but Kono has heard his words and is upset that he didn't keep his promise after knocking Saka down with a punch. Stomach Kono finally leaves the place and has to continue his deal with Yuzumi.